mechanical. Now, this is one of my favourite memories, is the first time I went in Koval. We went around for a quick lap race anybody, and this turned up next to us. It was a fresh setup, he was just running it in. Who are we racing?
I don't know. What's behind?
Is that another Evo? I think it might be. Let's have a little look here. It is.
Oh!
Perfect timing. It's on now.
Oh, damn!
Things just got serious in here.
At least give me a warm up. Alright, it's gonna be a pretty close race. Especially.
On this episode of Grassroots Garage, we're with Stephen from Beat the Blue. He sold his Evo, so he brought along a mate's car. Ludo82 is a regular at roll racing and crazy quick.
Welcome to Grassroots Garage. You can see this beautiful lineup of cars here. We're down at Sydney Motorsport Park. We found Stephen down here from Beat the Blue. Stephen, thanks for your time, man.
Man, great. Thanks for having me.
Tell us about this Evo.
So it's an Evo 8 MR. The car's been built by Dom Rigoli from TRP Performance. It's 2.2, the biggest EFR turbo you can fit on it. I think it's called a 9280 now. It's making over 600 kilowatts at the wheels, sequential gearbox. It is a dream. But the thing is, I drove it here this morning. It's got great manners in traffic. It's got a full interior. Normally it's got a baby seat in the back, but I took it out for weight reduction on the skid pan this morning. Functioning air conditioning, power windows. He just wanted a car that he could enjoy. It's got air cups in it, so when he gets to his driveway, he flicks a button and it pops up so he can go over speed humps and drive. He does circuit stuff in it, he does drag stuff in it. So with the old setup, so about 200 kilowatts ago, it ran a 9.7. Yeah. Again, a real testament to Dom putting a package, having a 600 plus kilowatt car and being able to drive it to pick the kids up from school and then go to the drags and pop 1,000 horsepower GTRs. Pretty amazing.
Fiberglass machine, carbon probably.
No, fiberglass.
Fiberglass. Look at this, man. That's a really nice colour combo, eh?
Yeah.
And you've got the orange in the front as well.
Wow. That's the thing. And I'm the same. My race car always looked pretty too, because that's what you got to be. He's very proud, as I was with my car. It's got to look the part as well.
Oh yeah.
Out there now, entrant number 78, and that is none other than Stephen Planinic, Garage 88 High Octane Racing Evo 9. Looking resplendent, got that sort of martini striping down the middle of it, and is doing a fantastic job of getting his laps through. And it is good to see this huge V-Sport Club Sprint category. It is our grassroots category. You can see license plates on a variety of these vehicles. So, yeah, you can drive these things in, drive them out. There's no limitation on being able to do that. These cars have got to bear all of that sort of street gear. And again, we just don't know what the perfect weapon is. Just when you think the Evo Lancers might be our perfect club sprint weapon, a Honda Civic comes up and puts a run on the board that you go, well, it just goes to prove that any well-sorted platform has got every chance of taking home a podium here today in V-Sport Club Sprint. it's so good to see that the grassroots is well and truly looked after.
So it's still neat too. So you know the simple stuff, the air filter's boxed in, the exhaust is plumbed back. Like you just do the little things right, and it goes a long way.
Definitely. So 2.2 you were saying?
Yes, 2.2. The motor's built in house. And it's making over 600 kilowatts. So they run it in with 630, and then I think they notched it up a little bit at the last World Racing. It hasn't been back on the dyno since to check, but it is very fast.
You know what boost he's running?
I'd be lying. I think it was running 48 psi the last time they took it out.
Yeah, plenty.
And it does it, like I said, it just does it so easy. It's got such great manners on the road that you can really just... I just cruised it here. It's about a half an hour drive from where I picked it up to come here, and no dramas in traffic.
Mate, that's...
And it's with that Samsonas sequential as well. It's a pretty good kit as well. I've had dog boxes in my car in the past, and you can't hear yourself think. That's great, really.
Those Samsonas, you put it on any car, you love them. Absolutely love them. Just the sound, it's all business. You can hear the gears.
Yeah, you want to hear it.
Turning over, you know.
That's all right.
Yeah.
The worst thing is you could get stuck driving, I think.
Yeah, man. And listening to that, I'll absolutely love it.
That bang.
Yep. Mechanical. Let's go through your car history. Tell us about your first car.
So my first car, 87 Corolla. Carby.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And my old man was a car nut, and my uncle, my dad was a Holden guy, and my uncle Ford, and I sort of went more with my uncle. It was more, I think, a bit more fun being in the back of an XA GT Coupe than it was his Commodore. So I was a bit vain in that, and that stuck with me. And then I've had so many cars, like a lot of us have, and my wife hates it. But so from the Corolla, the next car I had was a 94 model 530 BMW, which is fitting, I guess, since I drive one at work now. But it wasn't that nice. And then I crashed that the day before the guy that bought it was supposed to pick it up. So then, as punishment, my old man made me get a Barina. But that didn't last long, and from there was still to date my favourite car that I ever had. I had a 98 model S14, the high spec, had the cool little sunroof and the lips, and it was the first turbo rear-wheel drive fun car that I had. And I had that. That's the longest I probably had a car. I had it for 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Other than the Evo. And it just stuck with me. It didn't matter. Like, it had a few little tasteful things done to it. I was always a stickler for doing things sort of right. So it had an engineer certificate for the modifications that had done to it. And even when I was getting pulled over in it, growing up out at Fairfield, I never got hassled because I sort of made the effort to do things properly. And then from there, I joined the cops. I was driving that S14 down to Goulburn and back, and I got posted at the Rocks, and it was time for another change from there, because there was a big history there in the Rocks and car guys down there in Hickson Road. So when I rocked up there in my S14, it wasn't really taken that well. But again, I sort of won that crowd over as well, so it was pretty good. And from there, my first sort of performance car after that, again, was an Evo 8. That was great fun, practical, but it's a bit... Again, I kept chopping and changing cars, so from there I jumped into an R32 GDR, and I was kicking myself that I oversold that, because I'd probably buy a house now with one of those bloody things. That was a beautiful car. My wife and I used to drive it to work and back. It was such a good car. And then I got another GDR, R33, but I didn't keep that too long. And then just to be practical, I bought another Evo because I've got a bunch of kids at home, and I could fit a double pram and a stroller in the back, and a bassinet, in the boot of an Evo, and put the little kid, the 3 baby seats along the back.
Nice.
And still have my fun on the weekends. So my Evo that I've ended up turning into a race car was box stock when I got it, and I had that car for 7 years. So that's the longest I've ever kept the car, and turned it painstakingly into the standard Evo that it was to a race car.
Yep. And then last year you were saying you sort of didn't have a great year at Time Attack, and you sort of called it.
Yeah. So every car guy can relate. We all go through plenty of pain with the cars, and went through a couple of engines, more than a handful of gearboxes, but that was always all right. But we had a bad year where a combination of those things happened, and I just had to pull the pin because I just was getting in way too much trouble at home.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll have a bit of a break from racing, and I sold the Evo and got myself into a Porsche, which was my dream car. Found one in Adelaide that was in the budget, but going from a 400 kilowatt Evo to a NA Carrera with 220 kilowatts was a little bit difficult for me, but just got so used to having that power. So, but it was a nice car, and it was good to have a break from any sort of mischief. So I had that for a couple of years, and then convinced the wife to let me build another race car. So there's an EK Civic I'm putting together now.
Ooh,
with a K24 in it and all the trimmings.
Nice.
That's currently at the workshop getting put together. But that'll be just track only. So I've always had the cars registered and sort of pushed the limits of what you could do to still drive them around, but it's just too hard now and too expensive. So we just bit the bullet, and when I bought the last family car, I put a tow bar on it, and the wife said, "Oh, what do you need a tow bar for?" She's like, "Put the kids' bikes on or whatever." But she knew. She's too smart for me, unfortunately. So so the next car is going to be just purely a circuit car.
Nice. Beautiful. All right. So unlimited budget. You've won lotto. What would the Civic look like?
Civic, I wouldn't see the Civic, I don't think, because I'd be I love Porsches. I grew up that was the poster car for me, so I'd probably get into something a little bit quicker with that. I love the Evo too, to be honest. It was probably the hardest thing to do, to sell the Evo, but I just couldn't even justify it to myself anymore, the stupid amount of spending. So I know it's stupid, but I'll probably build another Evo. I'm not really, I like the idea of the Honda. I've got a lot of friends that race that format, and it's just got great longevity. And I'll keep it NA for as long as I can. I tell the wife that it'll be NA forever, but everyone knows that. Even she knows that's a lie. But I don't know, to be honest. Yeah.
So you're thinking with the Porsche, you're going like brand new, or you're going to go an old school? What would you do?
If it's unlimited budget, those Singer Porsches they make in California, that is next level. That old school cool, but with all the latest tech and carbon body. Yeah, that'd probably be the go. One. Something I could go have a coffee with and throw the kids in the weekend, and then come here and run amok at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Sick, love that. And the Evo, what are you going to build? Basically this?
So basically. So my best mate, that's his car. He when I was like really in the thick of the racing, we grew up modifying cars together and being silly in cars. And he had a bit of a break from it. And when he wanted to get back into it, he said, "Oh, you've got to promise me you're going to keep the Evo, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course, I'm not selling the Evo." So he went and bought one too, so that we could have a bit of a play together. But he's a concreter and I'm a cop, so his budget's spread a bit better. And he's got himself an absolute beast. Dominic Rigoli built the car from the ground up, and it's pushing over 600 kilowatts, sequential gearbox, all of the trimmings. But even though I've pushed him a little bit with it, he won't. It's got full trim. He's got baby seats in the back of it. It still has air conditioning, functional. It's still a car. I drove it here this morning in traffic, and it just drives beautiful. It's a real testament to the work Dom does, and doing things right the first time. So I'm lucky that he lets me drive it from time to time to do things like this. And he was one of the first people. He was sort of the poster car for Beat the Blue too, because I didn't have my Evo anymore, and I wanted that to still be a part of it, because it's one of those and they're starting to creep up in price too. But it's one of those affordable cars that young blokes like to get, that can get you into a bit of mischief. So if we can get more of those people on the skid pan or at the track here at Sydney Motorsport Park, the better.
Hopefully you made it to the end of that video, and hopefully you're on board and you appreciate what we're trying to do. And I really want to thank Stephen for his time. And Stephen, thanks so much.
No,
mate.
I appreciate it, mate. It's great seeing, getting to talk to other car people and spread the message of what we're trying to do.
Legend.
That wraps up this episode of GRG, and as always, if you like what we're doing with the GRG project, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to all the socials.